Hello, my fellow dentists, international or I would say foreign trained dentist. Your Dr. Arkady Safar here, dentist from Russia, an Armenian at origin. In today's video, I want to talk about how time changed the application cycles for us, how time changed the admission decisions, what I see compared to 6 years ago, or compared to the stories that my predecessors, that older friends of mine who already became dentists from 10 years ago were telling me, versus today, versus now, 2024, and I'm going to predict 2025 to 2026 for you. Let's start from the past. Now, looking at the basis, who we are here in the United States. We are all applicants, and every year we do experience a lot of competition. It doesn't really matter now how diversity is applied. I know you're gonna say different in the comments down below, but still, diversity is applied in many schools, and mostly it is applied for the rating in the traditional 4-year DDS program, which most of us are not applying to. Well, maybe that's a mistake, but I don't want to talk about it as for now. So, back in the past, we had much more opportunities due to lesser competition. However, still less opportunity for seats because not so many schools were opening the non-traditional 2-year or 2.5 foreign trained international standing programs with a limited number of seats. Nowadays, it's more than 25 schools, or rather more than 30 schools that are offering that. And on top of that, there are still new residency programs opening every other year in one school or another across the country. And some of those schools where the residencies in dentistry related residency programs are opening are not the same schools that offer IDP, International Dentist Program. And where I'm leaning my thought and reasoning is what we have a lot of options. We have a lot of diversities in school now. However, we do still compete in residency programs with American traditional graduates. Now, let's talk about the past more. Let's say 10 years ago, what did we have? Did you know that people from 20 years ago did not require any TOEFL? Now TOEFL is one of the competitive factors because really schools don't really look at your GPA. Well, they do, but GPA is not number one, is far not the number one, but far not the last factor that admissions look at. If your GPA is 4.0, you will have more probability, because you're smart, basically, to pass IMBDE with the first attempt, and this is something I recommend everyone does nowadays, and boost your TOEFL score up to 100. So TOEFL score now versus back in the days where it wasn't required at all is required, and it's pretty competitive. Guess why? Because now IMBDE is shrinked. Is basically a combination or shrink combination of two exams. Used to be more than a few years ago back in the history, it was IMBD. Before IMBD, it was MBD Part 1 and Part 2. That was the times where I took those exams. And I failed, and I took them again. And then here I am. But before that, I know I'm kind of jumping here and there, but I'm sorry, this is how my thoughts go. I can't do much about it unless I write down the script and then read it to you, but I don't want to do that. I kind of want to play with my thoughts here. But before that, remember when I said there were limited amount of IDP, International Dentist Programs? What I meant by that is dentists were still arriving as immigrants to the America, and they had to go through a traditional 4-year DS or DMD program, and TOEFL did not require there. But also, I call it progression. I call it multiplying or exponential progression, where you have nowadays more immigrants that are arriving to this country. Every year, it's more and more immigrants than the previous years. And so they go through immigration process, and then people win green cards. People get green cards through immigration process, processing visas and living in this country for a while. And then they are now with green cards eligible for more options, because some of the programs require green cards or United States passport, the blue little book, to apply. So and that will be easy for those schools to process such a candidate if he or she gets accepted. What else? Statement, personal statement, or some other programs call it a letter of motivation. Non-dental programs call it like that. Well, that's pretty much the true version of that. You have to follow the prompt, whether it is CAPIT, whether it is PASS. Basically, you have to tell your story a little bit. You have to tell your goals. You have to tell what you went through. And not going into details of personal statement, but this is one of the major pieces of your portfolio, I should say application, that you have to get to. And so many applicants confuse it in a way that they think it's great. It's their score. It's their TOEFL score, which is graded. The higher, the better. And then they get frustrated trying to retake it, spend all this nerve-wracking process under this exam, like hitting like a cementum wall, a concrete wall, when in fact they have to focus on a lot of writing, a lot of extracurricular activities besides just one or two things. It's also GPA that people confuse, thinking that the higher the GPA, the more chances I have. Well, it's not true. Well, my GPA of the main diploma is 3.43 with a ECE and 3.45 graded by WES Evaluation Company. And then my oral surgery fellowship, also from my country, is 3.65, if I'm not mistaken. So this is not the main thing, right? So you have to write authentically and enthusiastically and uniquely your personal statement. One of the major things, trust me. Let's kind of move towards today. I want to kind of talk about today, and then a little bit we'll talk about tomorrow, the future years of application for foreign trained dentists. Today, we need to work not only on the number, like I was saying, on number of applications, not only on number, but also on quality. I know so many guys so many friends of mine whom I adore. They're good people. I know they're good people. Some of them are silly and less educated, and some of them had papers, meaning either it was letter, either it was curriculum vitae, that were not organized at all, had grammatical spelling mistakes, had some sort of formatting mistakes. The tenses were different, and it was just bizarre, and they still were getting accepted. Um, I don't think today it's gonna work. So that was back in the day. Today, it's not gonna work. Um, you really need to hit every single document, every single page and line, and you really need to use experts. And by the way, if you're interested, you can text me in Telegram, and we can discuss how I can help you and if I will be willing to help you, because sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I'm not super expertized in the area you will be asking me questions about. Um, so it's obviously paid service, and so expertise on every single step. I believe that still we have to remember, besides the quality and quantity, of how there are so many other candidates that also used to be dentists in their countries. Maybe they are, some of them are your friends that you know that also moved to the United States or trying to move, who are not applying, who live here for a number of years but not applying to dental schools for various reasons. Could be personal reasons, could be that they switched the career, let's say to IT, or they are okay being a dental hygienist, which is okay. They're still really good people, right? Either or. And we cannot judge them. And but you have to understand, you don't have to straight think that, oh, every single dentist who moves here is applying, and basically I compete with them. No, that's not true. So, and you have to realize how lucky you are that you're still holding on to your career path. So time shows when and where you're gonna apply. If time does not allow you to do it today, it may in the future. So this is pretty much about today. I want to talk now about the future, what I believe the application cycles for foreign trained dentists like us will be looking like. I feel like all these little factors will be even more exaggerated in a way that there will be more things like Casper exam that finally will be graded. Casper test, I'm sorry. Casper is an assessment test that grades the video recorded and text typed in, and goes really fast. And honestly, the tendency that I've been seeing is whether you are good in it or whether your results are not good, you still get interviewed. So I don't know honestly why schools applied that Casper exams. It's just bizarre. They could come up with something else, like put extra 2 or 3 additional supplemental statements in their questions and essays in their supplemental application, but they instead chose this. Don't listen to me. Why? Because again, Casper is just a small tip of all of that, a very small factor. Obviously, you have to say something, but still the admissions will be we'll be looking at your application overall and all the other factors. Maybe there will be some other aspects of your application that they're gonna love, so they're gonna give you a chance of being interviewed by them. So I believe those assessments will grow. I believe Casper will become more tough and will be used by many other schools. Why? Because I see the tendency that now every year one or two more schools adding that, looking at the past experience of other schools. They chit chat, I guess, between each other, and they add that Casper or Altitude, as they call it now, to their application. I believe there will be also things like Kira test that NYU, New York University, uses. Maybe there will be other assessments in the future. You don't know. If you ever applied to a job in the United States, there is such a website called Indeed.com. And Indeed.com still has assessment tests. One of the example assessment tests for nurses or people into the medical profession. So when I was applying as a dental assistant, I was pretty, intrigued, and I was passing a couple of assessment tests to the highest score or almost highest score, and I applied to the job. I don't think my future employer, looked at those, but there was just fun addition. And what I'm leaning to is that if we get TOEFL cut off, and TOEFL actually shrinked some recent time ago. So it used to be much longer exam and much more exhausting, but I guess people complained, and people said, oh, it's too much, and now it's easier for graders as well. So I don't want to get into TOEFL, but as some things like INBDE being shrinked and kind of simplified, and you may kill me, but it is simplified, ladies and gentlemen, it was simplified. And things like TOEFL get shrinked in time and tasks and get kind of simplified, but at the same time, tasks actually become more structured, like texts, articles, and listening sections are not easy anymore, not every single one. And time is still ticking. I believe there will be some other assessments and some other portions of the applications floating onto all of that, showing up like we have the saying in Russia, like mushrooms after the rain. There'll be a lot of growth, natural growth of mushrooms after the rain in the forest. So because schools really struggle, and they do send emails, they do send follow-up emails to people who applied during the cycle, that, hey, we're still processing, don't be mad, do not spam us with your requests and wondering, how is my application. That actually kills them and gets them very frustrated. Don't do that. I believe there will be a tendency of more people becoming dental hygienists, not only dental assistants. And I see that tendency because so many people who did that path in front of my eyes got accepted. And I also became licensed dental hygienist. And there will be more tendency where people got into schools to which they actually apply. Some short programs like preceptorships, fellowships, master's degrees. Well, master's degrees minimum around 2 year long on a full-time schedule. My fellow friends, Indians, I do respect every single of you that I know, and as a whole nation, I do respect Indian applicants in a way, and I guess Pakistani, I can set into the same group, into the way, and there is Nepali, I don't want to, I'm sorry, no specification, but we need to get that example from our Indian fellows that are having education as a marketing and is a very tough um, pathway. Education in India is surrounded by a lot of marketing, and there's so dense population there that are fighting to those spots, and surely fighting for the spots in IDP programs. Now, the good thing is there is still diversity, so schools do not supposed to take candidates of from one country or from neighboring countries, from one part of the globe, I would say. But still, what I'm leaning towards to is many of Indian candidates do take American master's degree, do take fellowship. That is at least 1 or 2 year long, and they score their GPA very high. And here we go. They apply and they rock when they have that finished program. That's a fact. Now, I'm thinking and I'm looking at today's world, and I know not Indians that were not accepted after, during the cycle for like a year or a year and a half, already having Master of Public Health. I know Irani, a candidate that, went through that struggle with already finished Master of Public Health. So what I'm leaning towards to is many of you will have to take those fellowship or short programs or anything like that. The other factor is that there will be more states, like Connecticut is creating that bill, just like state of Florida, that they will be allowing foreign trained dentists to become dental hygienists as a direct path. Besides Minnesota and Massachusetts, those two states so far are allowing foreign nationals to dentists to get the limited dentist license and have a salary about 100,000, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more a year, to work in the community clinics in those such settings or prisons, etc. I believe there will be more states. I believe there will be more sittings, because if you look at the economics of this country, if you look at the growth of the population in the United States year by year, it is freaking growing exponentially. So not only dentists immigrate from the bad life on their lands from abroad, but other people obviously too. And they all have decay, and they all have gum diseases, and they all have teeth to be extracted and dentures to be put on. And we're gonna do that for cheaper, for more expensive, but it will be more dentists to cover that. Okay, let's recap. So I talked about the past, how easy and maybe not easy it was to apply and get into the program to become a dentist there for foreign nationals. I talked about now, 2024, 2023, and I kind of get that prediction for the future. Now, for prediction for the future, let's recap one more time. So I got to tell you that you need to boost your profile, perhaps become hygienist. Many people will do that. Perhaps for now, they will be moving to the only state that allowing the direct path of dental hygienists. And if you need hand-to-hand guidance from point A to point Z on that, I do take paid. Basically, I will become your mentor. That's called mentorship. I do take that, and a few clients were already happy with me. I believe that besides becoming a dental hygienist, you need to get through fellowships, or you need to take master's degrees in the United States, because they are graded really well as achievements in the eyes of committees. There will be no spots for everyone or I would say desire for everyone as well to become limitedly licensed dentist in some states, because there are not many options for that, and it's actually hard for now to get in, and I don't know if it's going to be easier for the future. There could be an option that the dental schools will be expanding, and new dental schools will be having more students, and people will need teachers and professors, so there will be more spots opening for like teaching positions. But this is also, it's going to be hard for people who never got to study English. I'm not talking about Indians and people perhaps from Europe who had some classes in English. Well, maybe not Europe in particular, but still. So it will be hard to teach in English. That's what I'm saying. But there still will be positions. Perhaps people will be eager to get connections with dental schools somehow before they apply. Perhaps people will be still waiting to their green cards or US passports, and perhaps dental schools will be restricting and bordering up their applications to the point that only green card holders can apply. Well, that's going to be easier, I guess, for dental schools, but also it's a very questionable statement that I just pointed out, because the dental schools don't always want to limit their options. There are as beautiful candidates as smart candidates that don't have green cards, but they could be really, much smarter, much more intelligent than some green card holders. And many schools already got burned out and dissatisfied with a lot of people they got in, because people played some really well on their interview and showcase themselves and their profiles really well, when in fact it's not quite all good. Not pointing out to someone specifically, but still. I think I already talked too much, and I don't want this video to be lasting for another 10 or 20 or an hour, I guess. Arkady Safarov, your dentist, tell me what you think. Tell me if there are other options. Tell me what you think about now. How hard is it now? And what do you think is going to happen towards 2030? I just could say that I wish it could be that easy, but it's not going to be easier. Every year is going to be a new challenge, and new money, more money spent by you for these applications for experts. And if you work with experts, last thing I want to say is the expert needs to be knowledgeable. He or she needs to have reputation, but not just the page on social media. I have that experience with experts who got my who got some help that was of worse quality than I could do myself. Peace. Subscribe, comment, like this video.